Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our guest webinar today. We have the fabulous Dr. Ju Attawet from Swinburne University here in Melbourne. So Ju is a senior lecturer in nursing in the faculty, the school, I should say, of health science, and is also, of course, an adjunct at the University of Technology in Sydney. And I want to actually give the audience a little bit in terms of the background of Ju's research, because I'm kind of blown away by the amount of stuff that she actually gets done. And on top of that, she's known as an incredible academic, award-winning. Students rave about the kind of delivery that she gives to them. So Ju, fantastic to hear. But I am going to share. So Ju's research area, it spans a number of areas. So public health, critically important for all of us. Health promotion for vulnerable populations. That's just fascinating to me. Reproductive health as well. And then planetary health. So, Ju, a very, very warm welcome. You are a woman of many, many talents, and I'm delighted to have you here to share what you do with your students and to share about your own journey with the audience today. And I'm very keen to hear it as well. So, Ju, firstly, I might ask you to perhaps introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your current role. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And a good introduction about my research. So today I'm gonna focus on what my current role at the Swinburne University. I am a senior lecturer in nursing department at Swinburne, as you know, and I serve as our unit convener and year one level course coordinators, supporting first year nursing students as they transition into university study. So my role actually focusing on guiding the first year cohort student, fostering a positive learning experience and environment, and helping students to develop a strong sense of belonging within the university and the nursing professions.
Shu, I think that's fantastic. There's some key words you use there. That sense of belonging, I think, is so important. And that move from making them feel secure coming from high school into university, because it's an incredibly big, big jump for students. And I think is
Yes.
and on top of that, I think nursing is a very content heavy
Mm.
discipline. So there's a lot for them to take in. And I know over the last couple of weeks, I've met them on campus, especially during orientation week, and they were saying there's a lot of stuff for us to study. So it'll be great for the audience as well, Ju, to show how you've, managed that. And so I'm going to jump in and ask you my first question.
Mhm.
So what are the main challenges students face when learning so complex nursing theory, I would say in the first instance, and what challenges do you encounter as an educator as a result of that?
Yeah, you actually right. It's about the content heavy in nursing. Yes,
Mm.
for first year students, learning involve both theoretical knowledge and practical skills. That's of course in nursing. It's not just the theories, we need the practical as well. That
Mhm.
is the one main challenge is that nursing theories underpins clinical practice. So the student must understand the concepts clearly in order to apply them in the real situation. So however, the volume of the content can be heavy, like you just mentioned. And if the student do not understand well underlining the concepts, the information does not connect or doesn't make sense at all. So as an educator, my challenge is helping students move beyond memorizing to truly understand the concept. So students need to be able to reflect what they read, explain the idea in their own words, and recognize what they do not yet understand. So if they explain a concept without referring back to their notes or textbooks, if they cannot do that, so it's often indicate that the concept had not fully understand, fully clicked, right? So supporting students to develop their deeper understanding and reflective learning approach is a part of the teaching first year nursing education from the high school transition to the university.
Yeah, fantastic, Ju. I mean, that is especially for nursing that, the theory and the practical. So
Yep.
they have to understand a lot of things very early on, really, in their learning journey. And I know they scaffold like others, but just that connection between the theory and practical is just so critically important, and especially as they go out on placements and so on. And I know it's something from chatting with some of them when I meet them in the lift around
Mm.
campus that they definitely do stress about. So I love that you're very clear on what the challenges for your students are. And then,
Mm,
of course, as educator, what those challenges are and how we can build solutions that can support them both.
mm.
So, Ju, I'm going to move then to what I kind of consider kind of a general kind of integration, if you like,
Yep.
in terms of, approaches to learning. So, what was your own approach to integrating Quitch into your unit?
Mm,
So without, in a sense, disrupting the existing curriculum, which I know you've built over time and you know that it is solid, and I know you
mm.
keep improving it and so on. And then I guess also maybe any tips for making this process seamless for students.
Yeah, actually, as I mentioned, the student need to be able to reflect and demonstrate about their understanding the concept. So because understanding the concept is allowing a content makes sense in practice. So when I integrating quiz into the unit, so my aim was to make a part of their learning process rather than make an extra task for the students. To
Mm.
do this, I place a short questions or reflections at the end of the learning contents. When the student encounter the questions, it stimulates their brain. They think about what the reflex and what they have just read and have just learned, and then help them to check whether they actually understand the concepts. I also blend the quiz into the units at a ticket enter for the practice. So I mean, it's not make it extra, but it's a blending. I would say blending because they need to read the theories before they come to the practice. So it means I have a quiz blended in that way. It's like a ticket to enter. So they need to engage the theories beforehand. Right? It's not. I mean, it's a blending as a part of the process, the journey learning. So therefore they need to read that before they come for the practice. So I mean, some students might have a tricky way, like choose attempt to do the question without reading because they just want, it's a quick way jumping to the ticket entry. Is totally fine for me. But however, in that situation, the question will prompt them to reflect the concept anyway because when you respond the wrong questions, it means you did not really understanding. And then it's a part of my questions. I have like the reflections and link them to read. Like okay, in what part that you need to read. So it's I mean it's meaningful for me, and I can see oh that is the most mistakes. Yeah, and I don't know even I don't know the fact that are they really reading the theory or they're not. But at least I know this is often mistaken for the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a mistake in there, and I think to you the other thing about that is they're getting that personalized feedback in Quitch, so it's guiding them very clearly on through that traffic light system. What are the areas of content they
Mm,
have not mastered
mm.
versus what they have mastered is highlighted in green, and they move on. And so, because I know for students that level of feedback is really important. But
It
also,
is.
as educators, it's very difficult for us to do that if we've got hundreds of students. How do we do that? So it's a good way for them to, if you like, I see it as empowering them. They know in real time what they understand, or probably more
Mm,
importantly, what they don't understand, and therefore what to focus on. And
yeah.
I think also for us as academics, getting that feedback for the cohort, where are the areas of difficulty? What have the questions of difficulty been? So it's, we're constantly engaging them, constantly keeping on top of where they're at, but also they themselves keeping on top of where they're at in their learning. So I love that
Yeah.
you're again making sure that they're not just scanning through things, but you're testing, putting in place those knowledge checks to make sure that's sound understanding.
Yeah. Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. It's a feedback is very important. So even they opt not to read, jump into the ticket, but they still if they get wrong answer, it still have the feedback underneath. Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So I think that feedback loop is it's
Yeah.
critically important. Ju, I know you tell me you're not an expert in AI, but you're using AI tools and using them very well from what I can see. So, in using Quitch's AI tools to create those knowledge checks and quizzes, what does your content creation process look like? Is that saving you time? What, perhaps if you could explain to the audience how that works for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would say it's very easy and simple nowadays. So my process, I would say it's it not take much time for me at all. So what I did is I upload my teaching contents. So I have my content and I upload it into Quiz, and then I prompts to generate the types of the questions that what I need. For example, I ask, please create 10 questions that help students reflect on the content and understanding the key concepts underlining the theories. And then I also put the level of the complexity as well. In the prompt, I say that this is a year one nursing students and not too complex and appropriate for the beginners. Yeah, so when I put that all prompts, I just sitting down. And then it's just in generated a question for me. And what I need to do, just check that is that right and that neatly, met your expectations or not. And yeah, so the overall, I would say is less time, less hassles, technology really saving my time. Before I use, like before that, I didn't use the AI before. It takes me like a day for creating questions, multiple questions for 10 questions a day for one lessons. But now I have 12 lessons. I can create less than 2 hours. I mean,
Yeah.
it still save time. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I think, because as academics, I mean, we are so busy and we always want to do the right thing by students, and they're always looking for additional revision questions and so on. So if
Mm,
we can use our time wisely to be able to, create good quality questions for them with good quality hints, good quality explanations, good quality
mm,
answers, it just works for everybody, is the way I see it.
yep.
And I
Yep.
think as well, I love you that you're adding your own prompts in there as well. So I love that you're doing that actually, because the better prompts, as we know from prompt engineering, the better prompts we use, the much better quality outcome we get.
Right.
And then you've got the QA, you're checking to make sure that you're
Mm,
happy with the quality, and then you're simply publishing and it's available for everybody. And I think the other thing I like is that we've got in within Quitch for the students the in-app feedback. So, they can give, us ratings on the content, which we've seen many 5-star ratings for your content, you. But
mm,
also it gives us a good sense of if it's working for them or if we need to maybe tweak things and so on.
yep.
So, always that feedback loop in terms of the quality of what we're presenting as well, because
Mm,
it just allows us to get better and better. And it takes such, as you said, such a short period of time to actually do this, that it allows us to focus on the quality, which is, as you would
yeah.
have
Oh, I
said.
actually forget
Yeah.
to I forget to mention. I also, it's easy for quiz as well. I also set the release date as well. So I create that beforehand, right? And then like 2 hours for the whole semester, and I just setting the date as well when to release it. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. That's right. So you can have everything set up in advance and then off you go.
Mm,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I love yeah. You're very organized too. I love that.
Mm,
Do you have another one for you in terms of that kind of integrating
mm-hmm,
quit your AI tools and so on into your curriculum? How did the low stakes practice and that kind of, if you like, that friendly competition
mm, mm.
help motivate your students and make that learning more engaging for them? Because remember, Quitch is that engagement tool to drive engagement,
Yep.
drive
Mm-hmm.
more time with their content.
Yeah, so low stake practice and friendly competition. So I think that helps motivate students because it's made learning feel less stressful and more engaging. Students could try the question without worrying too much about getting answer wrong, which encourage them to participate the taste their understanding of their concept, right? And the friendly competition also added a bit fun. I think for the learning process, the student can become curious about their score and how they compare with their peers, competitions, something like that. So, which encourage them to keep practicing. So, at the same time, it helps them to revisiting the content if they get answer wrong, so they don't need to worry about too much. I think it can reflect about what they had learned. So, in overall, I think it create more active learning environments while students thinking what the concept regular rather than just studying just before the assessment time.
Yeah, so that kind of ongoing
Mm,
ongoing assessment and revision for them. I really
yep.
like how you talked there about less stressful for them. Because as we
Yep.
know, they can go in, they can practice as often as required to master that content. It's about the growth mindset.
Yeah, true. So, and then
Yeah,
I see that they're not rewarding. So, like, for example, last week they come to show me, it's like, oh, Joe, I did 5 times.
yes,
Because
great.
they did 5 times because they can see the score they're getting. I mean, in the one lesson, I mean, in the one, what we call the 1 week, they
Yeah,
did it 5 times in the
yeah,
same question because they want to get a 100% score. So just
love
can
it.
see that they're less, they're not straight too much. Or I need to have a one go, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, I think for students as well, one of the other things we want to is we want to remove as much stress as possible. There's enough
Yep.
stress in life and another thing. So if we can provide them a learning experience where they're learning, they're consolidating that learning to
Mm,
long-term memory, and it's less stressful for them and they're
yeah.
having some fun along the way, I think is,
Yeah, and then so
you
also
know,
the last year, like I got a student, one is always doing the quiz and like 100% all the time, and then he just, oh yes, I'm the first one, yeah, because they see the
yes.
score as well, the competitions.
That's right. Yeah, because I think, yeah, as humans, we are fundamentally, we are most of us, I think, quite
Yeah.
competitive when it gets down to it as well. So,
Yep.
so that's good. As long as they're having fun and learning, we're
Yeah.
that's what we
Mm,
want. So that's great. And moving then along, due to the analytics and the
mm,
impact.
yep.
So, what role did those real-time analytics in Which? What did that do in terms, or how did that play out in terms of identifying those learning gaps, and then I guess
Mm-hmm.
supporting students earlier as
Mm.
well to ensure that they don't drop out, I guess.
Yeah, so
That's key.
real-time analytics help me quickly see how students were responding to the questions. So
Hmm.
it show which question were frequently answered incorrectly, like I had mentioned before, and which concept students were struggling with. So this allow me to identify the gaps early before I waiting for the formal assessment. So by seeing these patterns, like for the cohorts, like which one is frequently mistakes, so I could address their misunderstanding in the next class, providing further explanations about what happened, why is it. I mean, based on that concepts about that my question types, and so I can revisit a certain concept before the student move to the practical section as
Mm.
well. So it also helped me to understand where the student need more support. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, so helping us identify as educators, so we can look at all of the submissions from all of our students and say
Yeah.
where the I guess the cohort are struggling, so we can focus on those student needs in real time. So it
Yeah.
sounds like that was very valuable for you. So that's fantastic. And as you say, then it allows you to focus on those areas when you've got the students in front of you,
Yeah.
so you can, clarify any issues and so on. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah, wonderful, just what we need. And my next question is, what change did you notice in student engagement is my
Mm.
first point,
Mm.
and motivation, and then I guess understanding the topics as well after you implemented Quitch.
Yeah. So after I implemented quiz, so I noticed that students become more engaged with the learning contents. So before I don't have quiz before in
Mm.
24 when I starting teachings in this unit, and then I can see there's I mean, it's not like they just read and just come in with the puzzle jigsaw on the face. Anyway, so when I implemented quiz, so I can see that yes, it become more engaging with the learning contents because the questions appear regular and are connected what they have just read, what they have just learned, and encouraging them to revisit the material and reflect their understanding because it's like you get the feedback and then prompt them to read in what sections. So I also observed that students have more motivate to participate. The short quiz, low pressure practice, and friendly competition made learning feel more interactive rather than a passive thing. And then sometimes the student also come to the class and then ask me particular questions. For example, she said, I think I got the right answer, but why is have wrong? Why is wrong for this one? Why you the right answer? Why in that particular answer? So I know now it's yes, understand the concept, but might missing the details. So yeah, we open the discussion in the class, and then the other cohorts student the peer is have the similar experience as well, and then maybe they not ask. So when the one person starting asking. refer back to the quiz. So we open the conversation and start more discussions and more depth and engaging in the class. So I can see it's motivate at the beginning and it come through in the class behaviors also. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Because yeah, you're exactly right. It gives that opportunity to discuss openly and get that conversation going about things that may not have been clear. And I think also I love that you said like that other students may not have understood that but didn't want to ask that question. It might be for a variety of reasons, because I think that's so true. And it's, I love then that we have that opportunity to discuss why that particular answer is correct
Yeah,
and so on,
correct.
because it can, yeah, it's just really important. We can see clearly where those issues may have been in understanding the concept and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And Ju, I have one more question in this area around the analytics and impact. What feedback have students shared about using Quitch, and how did they respond overall? What was their kind of sense of it?
Yeah, from the feedback I received, the student generally found a quiz very easy and friendly to use. So many mentioned that platform is simple and not complicated, especially when they access through the apps on their phone. That what they most like because there's uh, I assume because the phone that we have phone and that they can access anytime and I see the features on the phone it's simple. They just scoring. I know it's like that we use in the smartphone. So I think that's why they love an app. So some students say that they also like the questions because they could go back to practice again because it's a platform. It's easy to use anyway. And yeah, and then they try to redo the quiz until they get the answer 100% correct because they want to beat the the others in the class. So yeah, I think yeah, I would say that I think this showed that students were motivating and checks their understanding and improve. Yeah.
Yeah. Great, fantastic. So I'm just checking the time because time flies by.
Oh, yep, sure, yeah.
And so I'll just say to the audience as well, if you have any questions, if you want to drop them in the Q&A, and as you can answer those for your myself, or of course we will be recording this and send it to you, and also feel free to reach out if you have any questions. As you, is it okay with you if people
Yep.
reach out later if they have
Yeah, sure, no
questions?
worries. Yep.
Okay, thank you for that. But we're not finished just yet. I've got
Okay.
another couple of things. This time really is I guess it's about advice for the audience. And I know there's some
Mm,
people who couldn't be here today, you that will look at the recording and so perhaps
mm.
come back with some question, but some advice and looking forward. So are there other AI or ed tech tools that you're excited to explore in nursing education, just to share
Yes,
with the
yes, of
audience as
course.
well?
I am very interested to in exploring more AI and educational technology
Right.
that can make nursing education more interactive and reflective.
Mm,
So one area I find exciting is the use of AI to create realistic critical scenarios. Yeah, I think where students
mm,
can practice about the decision making in safe environments. For example, AI could present evolving patient case um, where the student needs to assess symptoms. Sorry, I was talking about
yeah.
nursing.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Prioritize care
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things through the clinical decision step by step. The what I'm not sure that how AI can help prompting step by step
Mm,
in the making decisions with the patients. Yeah, another area I would like to explore is how AI could help students practice in the clinical reasoning through conversation or simulations. So almost like the virtual, like look like the virtual patient interactions. But this could encourage students think critical and apply theories before entering um, the practical class or the
mm.
clinical environments. Yeah, I I actually don't know because I'm not the engineering side. You probably
Yeah.
have more idea
Yeah.
to think how to make
Mm.
it more interactive, reflective step by step with the real world scenarios. Yeah, something
Yeah.
like
So
that.
with your kind of case studies and so on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And cases in hospitals and yeah,
Mm,
I think there probably is quite a bit of work going on in that area as well,
mm.
Juice, which I think, would be a great thing going forward for the healthcare sector, because I think we'll need more and more support as more and more of us age and so on, and there's not as many young people coming through the pipeline. So I think, yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Correct.
another
Yeah.
kind of area
Mm,
of yeah, education there for healthcare that can help. And I've got one final question for you, if I may, Ju, and
Mm,
that is, what would you recommend to educators looking to integrate AI tools
mm,
to improve learning outcomes in particular content-heavy subjects?
Yep. So I would
Yeah.
suggest the educator think about how AI can make learning more manageable for students. So especially subject there's like a lot of content. So instead of the student feeling heavy, so AI tools can help organize information and turn into the smaller learning checkpoint that helps students process what they are learning. So another important thing is keep the focus on the understanding rather than just completing tasks. So AI can help generate the questions, scenarios, or prompts that encourage students to pause and think about the concept rather than simply reading through the amounts of the materials. Um, I also uh, I also think it's useful to experiment to see what works for your student. And I also understand that not every tool will fit in every classroom, right? So starting with the small activity and observe how your student respond, it will be very helpful. And then you will find out what kind of the AI tools or type that you can fit in your study learning styles or teaching style. So overall, I think AI should be used supporting tools that enhance learning and save our times because it's so busy in academic. And then
Yeah.
I think AI helps a lot about saving time for us. So in preparing the materials, while still allowing us to guide and discussion student in the deeper context and making them more understanding.
Mm.
Yeah.
Fantastic, Ju. I love it, Ju. I'm going to just summarize some. I think there's some key things you said here that I just want to reiterate for the audience. So
Yep.
I think whether it's nursing or whether indeed it's finance or engineering,
Mm,
whatever it may be, some of these things are really critical. I think you talked about how it using which motivated the students. They
mm,
became more active in their learning,
yep.
and it was less stressful for them. You saw more engagement,
Yep.
and they were less worried about getting things wrong because they had that ability to really focus on the learning, and they could continue to
Oops,
practice it as often as required until they
frozen.
mastered it. So I think that was, can you still hear me, Ju? Oh, we've lost you. So I think just then for the Ju, something has gone wrong there. So I'll just wrap up as another of key things. Um, allow students, as you said, to practice until they have mastered that content. And students talked often as well about feeling safe because they weren't identified to colleagues and so on. They've got a bit of a, they've got a fun name that we create for them. And again, that's important, I think, for students, that if I take 10 times longer than usual to learn something, nobody needs to know about it. I can just go about doing it in my own time on my mobile phone and so on. And I also like that you said that the students talked about it gave them time to pause and think because
Mm.
they had that ability to go back again. And then of course that it was easy and simple to download and for them to get access to it. Ju, can I say a huge thank you for joining us today on behalf of the audience, but also on behalf of all of the students that you teach, because I know you do an amazing job and I know that they're very grateful for all of the effort that you put in. And I always think as educators, the effort we put in is reflected in the great outcomes that our students get. So I love working with you and I hope we can continue to do much more in the future. And hopefully, you, if you don't mind, we can let the audience know your email address if they've got any questions as well, if that's okay with you.
Yes, sure, absolutely. So, do you want me to tell it now, or you can provide them
I'll
later?
actually, I've got people's email address so I can send it out to them if
Okay,
that's
sure.
okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Shu, thank you so much for being with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to the audience for joining us as well.
yep. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shu. Bye now.
Thanks.